So I think it's safe to say that British watchmaking, as someone's been doing this for a while, is relatively underappreciated by comparison compared to some of those other names that we typically associate with watchmaking like Switzerland, Japan, as well as Germany. You could argue that British watchmaking is maybe in the 4th position of having the most brands to talk about. So today we're gonna be looking at a list of some of the best British watch brands to know in 2025. So we did release a video a couple weeks ago about this subject, and we decided not to include Scottish brands because many of the people that I know from Scotland are usually claiming their Scottish heritage rather than their British heritage, so it was mostly out of respect. But many people in the comments didn't like that we didn't include Scottish brands, so we decided to give this another go and include Scottish brands in this video, so looking at a comprehensive breakdown of all British watchmaking. And in addition to that, we also need brands that are going to have some level of British affiliation even to this day. We can't be looking at a brand like Rolex that was started, yes, in Britain, but did shift over to Switzerland years and years ago and don't claim that heritage anymore. So before we begin, I'm from the United States of America, so I don't even know if I have the right to proceed to talk about this subject unless I talk with some individuals first to get their blessing. So the watch I have on my wrist right now, this is a Christopher Ward Bell Canto, specifically the Red 1 collaboration with Andrew Morgan. You might be familiar with this watch, but you might not be familiar with what it can also do.
What's the nature of your watch-related emergency?
Hey Andrew, Teddy here, how's it going?
Teddy, I've told you a million times, the red line isn't for social calls.
Yeah, I know. But this is actually different this time. This is serious. I'm working on a video about British watchmaking, and I need your approval before I proceed.
Yeah, I think so. Can we call it square on the whole Boston Tea Party thing then?
I mean, that was centuries ago, so I think enough time has passed. So let's call it even. Let's just call it even.
Wait a second. I can give you the green light on the English watchmakers, but not the Scottish ones. That's against the law.
Okay, see, I didn't even know that. That's why I'm always happy I use this and call you about these type of things, because I just don't even know sometimes.
Tell you what, I know a guy. Hold, please. Ricky, are you there? Hello, Ricky. He's way drunk again.
You said something about a drink.
There's no time for that, Ricky. Teddy needs our help to okay a video about British watchmakers.
Don't make me go Braveheart on you.
I'm going to patch Teddy in.
Teddy, you want to talk about Scottish watchmakers?
Yes, I do. I hope that is okay.
Fine with me as long as you keep that English Andrew out of it.
Totally understand. I'll keep Andrew out of it. What a strange complication. So now with that out of the way, let's kick things off with a familiar face to the channel. Launched in 2015, Scottish boutique brand Anordain's approach is to combine contemporary design with traditional craft. In this case, leaning into the art of enameling. They're known for their vitreous enameled dials, a craft typically reserved for the names at the highest tier of hot horology. The enamel work, despite being under the $5,000 price range, is phenomenal in its execution, with the reddish purple Model 1 known as the Plum Edition being a piece that I own, which serves up a saturated intensity at the center with a fume effect that darkens to near black at the dial's edge. The brand employs several enamelers who create each dial by hand in a process that can take up to 12 hours to complete. The process involves the fusing of powdered glass with a metallic base at 800 degrees Celsius and is notoriously difficult to get right, requiring a great deal of experimentation and skill. Anordain released their first Model 1 in 2018, quickly selling out, and the subsequent releases have followed suit. They also produced their own take on the field watch, the Model 2, and the Model 3 features a textured base on wood carving. Anordain utilizes Swiss third-party calibers, but the final assembly, dial construction, and regulation is handled by a small in-house team in Glasgow. Moving on to our next brand, we have Paulin. Paulin is also a Glasgow brand founded by art students in 2013 and related to Anordain, with one of the founders, Charlotte Paulin, the wife of Anordain founder Lewis Heath, with Lewis additionally being heavily involved to this day when he's not pondering new concepts over at Anordain. Now, Paulin has a different approach compared to Anordain, both on price but also their design execution. One of their most popular lines is the Neo series, which features a distinctive handset and typography along with brightly colored anodized aluminum dials manufactured in Scotland, with both three-handers and GMT models available. A Paulin design trademark is the hollow end for some of their hands, which show off some of the dial markings beneath. My personal favorite watch from them is known as the Oh No. It's a collaboration between Paulin and a California type foundry of the same name. Its bespoke type is exuberantly unusual, with a methodical scrambled arrangement of hour numerals on the dial that somehow is easy to navigate despite the unorthodoxy, being available with quartz options as well as mechanical Lajou parade calibers powering the package. And then finally, there's the Lume model lineup. This is a postmodern modular case aesthetic, and it features hand-painted lume on the dial and dial markers, and is available in a variety of different dial colors and your choice of quartz, automatic, or manual movements with a small second subdial. Clemence is another brand based in Scotland, designing and assembling all of their products within the UK from imported parts. Currently, the brand has two models in their lineup, the Munro Field Watch and the Photic Diver. The Munro gets its name from the Scottish term for mountains over 3,000 feet tall, and it comes well spec'd, including a 37.5mm case with a slim 10mm case height, a Miyota 9039 movement, 150 meters of water resistance, a screw-down crown, a box section sapphire crystal with 8 layers of anti-reflective coating on the underside, and a unique handset in sort of a mountain cathedral design. 4 dials are available: black, amber, a white full lume version, and the multicolored Ridgeline, meant to evoke mountain slopes. The 200-meter Photic Diver has a retro look and size with a 39mm by 47mm case. It offers the same Miyota 9039 movement on the inside, a 120-click bezel with a cap sapphire insert, a screw-down crown, drilled lugs for easier strap changes, and an optional ratcheted quick adjust bracelet. And prices start for both of the models under £500. And one other cool note about this brand, their founder, Tom Clemence, was schooled as an ecologist, and he plants a native tree in Scotland for every watch sold, being an authentic tie-in to the natural inspired elements of the watch's designs. Anoma. It's a relative newcomer based in London with only one model to their name, but they've made quite a splash in a relatively short amount of time. Founder and creative director Matteo Violet Vianello was one of the first employees at A Collected Man, where he spent his time studying and sourcing rare watches. Anoma was born from his passion for design, and the A1 steers into the trend for unconventional shapes with a soft triangular case inspired by, of all things, a mid-century table found in a Paris antique gallery. Along with the unique contours of the lugless stainless steel case, the A1 features a two-tone blue lacquer dial, dome leaf hands, and an automatic Sellita SW100 movement with its smaller diameter, which can fit within the unorthodox case. Priced at a reasonable £1,300, the first production run is sold out, but Anoma maintains an email list for notifying customers of future releases. First established in Bristol in 1846, the Fears Watch Company launched its first wristwatches in the 1920s after nearly 80 years as a pocket watchmaker. The company's facilities were destroyed in the bombing of Britain during World War II, but by 1946, it was up and running again, maintaining position as one of England's leading watchmakers until it shuttered in 1976. Fears remained dormant until Nicholas Bowman Scargill, the great-great-great-grandson of Edwin Fear, relaunched the company at the Salon QP Watch Show in 2016 with the introduction of the Redcliffe. Their second model, the cushion case Brunswick, was launched a year later and remains one of the brand's top sellers, with design cues that recalled from some of their earlier models. Fears introduced a rectangular case limited edition in 2021 to mark their 175th anniversary, and the archival 1930, which utilized new old stock movements. Today their lineup includes a wide selection, even doing collaborative editions with British brands like Christopher Ward, as well as Garrick. Prices start around $3,000 for standard Brunswick and Redcliffe models, climbing up to over $20,000 for the Garrick edition, limited to 5 per year, and also with their build-to-order Platinum Brunswick, which tops out at $36,000. Launched in 2021 by Kenneth Lamb as a lockdown project, Arken is a newer micro brand based in London. His unique integrated titanium case tool watches are designed and assembled in Britain using components from Asia. Arken currently has only 2 collections listed on their site, with the Instrumentum dive watch being sold out and looking to be discontinued from my research. In current production is the 38mm Alterum GMT watch, which features a modified Miyota 9015, a blue lollipop 12-hour hand, a day-night indicator, along with a small date subdial, a screw-down crown, and a pusher retailing for around 600 pounds. Cabot Watch Company, more commonly known as CWC, was launched in the 1970s by Ray Mellor, a British merchant navy veteran who found himself in the watch business after World War II, working for a number of brands before becoming the managing director of Hamilton UK, where he developed the Ministry of Defense business, setting up contracts for the brand to equip service members. Hamilton closed their UK business in the 1970s, and soon after, Mellor established Cabot Watch Company, named after the explorer John Cabot, who sailed to America 400 years earlier. CWC supplied mechanical watches, stopwatches, and chronographs to the military and government employees during the 1970s, followed by quartz models in the 1980s and beyond, including their G10 quartz field watch, and even won the contract to replace the Rolex Milsub with the CWC 1980 Royal Navy Diver Automatic. Today, CWC continues to supply watches and straps to the British forces, with their current SBS quartz dive watch still issued to British forces under contract. Prices start around £250 for the T20 quartz models and climb up to over £4,000 for limited edition Valjoux-powered mechanical chronographs. Londoner George Bamford has become an important figure in the watch industry, first getting his start as an unofficial customizer of Rolex watches, transforming stock Daytonas and subs into blacked-out statement pieces featuring custom dials. He since has shifted to working as a collaborative partner with brands rather than being aftermarket, with names such as Tag Heuer, Zenith, Bulgari from the LVMH stable, along with Chopard, Gerard Perregaux, Bremont, and Franck Muller. In addition to his synergetic work with established players, Bamford has his own line of watches, including the B347 Chrono in titanium or carbon, the B80 titanium field watch, the cushion case GMT, the Mayfair polymer sports watch, and the digital solar watch with blue OLED display and solar movement. Prices start around £300 for the Mayfair Sport and reach above £2,000 for the Sellita-powered B347 chronograph. Aera is a design-forward UK-based watch brand founded in 2018 that takes minimalist yet effective approach to classic watch categories. Their C1 chronograph, the D1 diver, M1 field watch, and P1 pilot's watch all utilize 904L stainless steel case construction, Sellita automatic movements, and one-piece dials that showcase a subtle curve to match the arc of the sapphire crystals. In addition to the standard lineup, Aera offers limited special editions in special colorways, blacked out PVD versions, and the striking C1 Rennsport special edition that features dual registers modeled after vintage alloy Porsche wheels. Aera's Swiss-built watches are starting around £1,300 for the P1, all the way up to £2,350 for the Rennsport C1 Chrono. Studio Underdog has been a runaway success ever since it began as a lockdown project for designer Richard Benck. Released in 2021, the Series 1 Bicompax chronograph upended classic design tropes with its whimsical, color-soaked dials such as its pink and green watermelon that featured seeds for hour markers, along with a 38.5mm stainless steel case and a visible hand-wound Seagull chrono on the reverse side based off of the classic Venus 175, and a double dome sapphire crystal on top. Many different colorways ensued, and for an encore, they launched the O2 series, which takes on a field watch design with sapphire sandwich dials featuring floating numerals, all while including a Sellita movement on the inside. Their latest release is the O3 Mono Pusher chronograph, using a Sellita SW510M and a literal interpretation of a salmon dial, featuring silvery skin to complement the coppery salmon color. Prices start around $675 for the O1 and climb to $2,000 for the O3. And just to give a sense of how quickly this brand has risen, in 2024 they released a project with one of the biggest names in independent watchmaking, Moser. The quirky and unconventional designs of Mr. Jones watches were first created by Crispin Jones in 2007, and today the company has a team of different designers and craftspeople in 2 London workshops where they're going to actually assemble and design their watches, along with producing select components. Although they can certainly do the job, Mr. Jones watches are less about telling the time and more about making an artistic statement, with its floating in a pool mystery dial or the ricochet, with robots playing a pinball machine where the scoreboard is replaced with a digital jump hour display. The watches themselves come in a range of sizes and offer mechanical or quartz movements, but the dials are the real stars here. Prices start at $275 for quartz versions and go up to around $3,000 for Sellita-powered models with a custom jump hour module. Launched in 2015 by Paul Sweetenham, Farrer Universal is known for their British-designed, Swiss-built tool watches in striking colorways, being at the forefront of leading the charge for the rapidly expanding micro and independent scene over the last decade. The overall aura of the brand is one of the freshest takes on classic genres, and the collectors have responded, with many of their collections like the Chronosport Automatic and the Aquamatic becoming contemporary favorites. Their wide product range includes world time models, dive watches, chronographs, field watches, GMTs, and lesser seen case shapes such as compressor style, cushion, and tonneau. Farrer watches are known for their rugged construction, unusual color combinations, and they utilize custom decorated Sellita movements for the bulk of their lineup. Prices start just under $900 and range up to above $2,000 for pieces such as their monopusher chronograph GMT. The Vertex company was founded by Claude Lyons in 1912, who was born in London and began working in the watch business at 17 years old. In 1915, the brand was commissioned by the British government to produce watches for the military during World War I, and Vertex set up headquarters in London and La Chaux-de-Fonds in Switzerland the following year. In the years following, the brand forged partnerships with several Swiss brands, but like many British watch companies in 1940, Vertex saw their London headquarters destroyed by German bombing. During World War II, Vertex was one of the dirty dozen brands tasked to produce watches for the British soldiers, and although the watches themselves were made in Switzerland, they were the only British brand among the original 12. Today, Vertex is helmed by Lyons' great-grandson, who revived the brand in 2015 after their closure in the early 1970s. Their first release was the M100, based on the Caliber 59 from World War II, and today the lineup has grown to several models, including the M36, a 36mm tribute to the original field watches that feature a small second subdial and Sellita movement. Like most of the modern Vertex catalog, the dials utilize solid blocks of lume for better visibility. The M100 follows a similar format, but in a 40mm case size for more contemporary wear. The catalog also features the M60 Aqualion dive watch, an ISO certified model that boasts 600 meters of water resistance and a Sellita movement with a chronometer certification. And then finally, the lineup winds up with the MP45 monopusher chronograph, available in both automatic and manual wound variants, with the M version based off of the 1945 model that sports a manual winding Sellita movement with 63 hours of power reserve. Isotope was founded by Jose and Joanna Miranda in 2016, headquartered in Henfield, with the intention of creating highly modern designs with Art Deco and brutalist aesthetics at more affordable prices. Highlights include minimalist small seconds, Mercury models, the dive-oriented Hydrium range in a wide range of styles, the funky Isotope GMT 0 degrees that features 31 cutout date apertures surrounding the dial, the old radium bronze pilot models, and the hyper-modern case designs of the chronograph Moonshot series. The watches utilize Swiss movements, with prices starting at just over $1,000 for the old radium bronze pilot, elevating to nearly $5,200 for the Mercury Center Seconds model that has a unique green marquetry dial made from inlaid natural straw, with no two dials looking exactly alike. Bremont is easily one of the most well-known names in British watchmaking, with its roots going back to two brothers, Nick and Giles English's founding of the brand in 2002. The Bremont ethos was originally built around a strong aviation theme, with capable tool watches including pilot's watches, chronographs, and dive watches as the brand's mainstays. One of Bremont's notable aspects is its production of custom watches built exclusively for military units, with their Martin Baker model only being available to pilots who had survived an ejector seat bailout, although a civilian version, the MB3, was later released. A major investment saw the brand opening a state-of-the-art headquarters known as the Wing in Henley upon Thames, along with Bremont's first UK-assembled caliber, the ENG 300, a highly re-engineered version of the K1 movement. Today, the English brothers have retired from Bremont, with the brand making significant updates to the line with releases such as the Terra Nova, Supermarine, and future plans to refresh much of the aviation line. Davide Serrato, the man part of the team at Tudor during their rapid growth, has come on board as part of the rebrand for Bremont. Prices start around $3,000 for the Terra Nova field watch, scaling up from there to the precious metal pieces at multiples of those prices. British watch brand William Wood was founded in 2016 by Johnny Garrick, whose grandfather was a decorated British fire service member for more than a quarter century. And the entire reason behind the brand is to pay tribute to him and firefighters worldwide. Their intriguing lineup of rugged watches features some clever Easter eggs, from the 1920s British fire helmet design in their logo to the crown insert made from the brass rescued from those very same antique helmets. Even the straps are one of a kind, made from upcycled fire hose reclaimed from actual service. The watches follow both dive, dress, and field watch design cues, with variants in stainless steel, bronze, and black DLC, and there's also even a bronze limited edition that pays tribute to the Dunkirk evacuation of World War II, featuring an actual piece of a boat engine used on that historic day. Prices start under $700 for some of their dress watches, and range up to over $5,000 for that Dunkirk model. UK brand Christopher Ward first launched in 2005 as a passion project of 3 entrepreneurs and friends with the goal of creating the world's first internet-only watch brand. In an unheard of move at the time, Christopher Ward would sell their British-designed, Swiss-made watches directly to consumers, in contrast to many of the luxury brands of the period. The business saw a slower grind in the decade and a half to follow, making thoughtful moves along the way, such as merging with a Swiss movement manufacturer, Synergy Horologer SA, enabling them to have more production capabilities. However, in the past few years, the brand has grown from cult favorite to an independent sales juggernaut, with the company now more than doubling in size in a single year, reportedly reaching over £30.5 million in revenue during 2023 alone. Christopher Ward's most popular models include the C60 Trident Diver series, the integrated style the 12, and their head-turning C1 Bel Canto with its Sonnerie au Passage. Prices start just under $1,000 for select models and go up to over $5,000 for watches like the Skeleton Titanium the 12X. Garrick is a Norfolk-based watch brand that is going to emphasize more hand finishing at an elevated level, capable making of dials, hands, and movement parts all in-house. The brand produces around 50 watches per year and is known for their engine-turned guilloche dials, which are among some of the best that you're going to come across in all of the independent scene. Additionally, the brand has its own UT series movements, currently available in 4 different calibers. The movements are highly finished with hand-beveled bridges and can be specified in finishes including frosted, grained, or mirror polished. Garrick also thermally blues its own hands and screws. The company offers bespoke services as well, where customers can specify custom details on one of their watches. Prices start around £5,000 for their steel S4 timepiece, climbing up to £40,000 for the S3 deadbeat seconds power reserve, with higher prices depending on bespoke options selected. And without question, Britain's most highly regarded living watchmaker, Roger Smith and his small team on the Isle of Man are producing some of the finest watches in the world, with Smith's releasing his first watch, the Series 1, in 2001. Roger Smith famously was the protege of arguably the greatest watchmaker of the 20th century, Dr. George Daniels. Upholding the principles of the Daniels method, every part of Roger Smith's watches are handmade and exquisitely decorated using traditional techniques, including cases, dials, and movements using tools from Daniels' own workshop. All this necessarily keeps production numbers extremely low, around a dozen or so per year. Precious metals are everywhere, including gold movements with Smith's version of the Daniels coaxial escapement, and complications ranging from the Series 1 with hours, minutes, seconds, to the Series 4 featuring hours, minutes, seconds, day, date, month, and moon phase. Prices are well into the 6 figures, and the waiting list extends years, which explains the staggering auction results for Smith's watches, which often sell for over $1 million and sometimes much more. But there you have it, guys. Those are the top British watch brands to know in 2025. And even when I was about to go to camera with this list, I was pretty surprised the quality of brands and the variety of styles coming out of Britain for their watchmaking. So major kudos to them. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Any of the brands on this list that is a personal favorite of yours? Do you own any of the brands on this list? Love to hear some of those personal stories down below for people that are maybe just stumbling into this world of British watchmaking. Also, if you'd like us to do another breakdown of a nation's watchmaking, let me know in the comments down below what would be the next nation you'd like us to investigate further. Also check out TeddyBalllister.com. TeddyBalllister.com is a full authorized dealer for over 30 brands. Every purchase from TeddyBalllister.com comes with quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer. Also, how we're able to keep doing what we're doing here, producing content every single week, is through selling watches. So if you are in the market for a watch, we'd absolutely love to have your business. Allow us to keep doing what we're doing here. We love what we do. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.